Hi Year 6. So this is our next session on Shackleton's journey. Last time we learned a little bit about Ernest Shackleton. We were introduced to him. Remember, he was a real person in British history. And we also were at the point in the book where he was looking for funding. So Shackleton needed money for his trip. It wasn't going to be cheap. So he was looking for sponsors and ways of getting money in order to make his expedition happen. He also needed a crew. So those were people that he needed to go with him on the trip, because obviously he couldn't go alone. Now he put an advert in a newspaper, and this happened in real life. He put an advert in a newspaper and asked for people to apply, like you would apply for a job when you're older. He wanted people to apply for the position of being a member of the crew on his expedition. Now, at the end of the last session, I asked you to think about some of those key skills that you might need to go on an expedition to the South Pole like this. I don't think just kind of anyone would be able to do it. You'd have to have a certain set of skills. Now, what I've got for you is a real example of a letter, and I'm going to share it for you on the PowerPoint as well. Or in a Word document. I'll make sure it's available so you can see it. But this is a real example of a letter that was sent to Ernest Shackleton in 1914 in response to his advert. Now, it was sent from 3 women. Now, have a little think about that, because obviously gender equality isn't what it wasn't to what it is now. We've come a long way in equality. And back then, over 100 years ago, I want you to think about how this might have been viewed by Shackleton, the fact that he got this response from women to go on the trip with him. So here it is. Dear Sir Ernest, we 3 sporty girls have decided to write and beg of you to take us with you on your expedition to the South Pole. We are 3 strong, healthy girls, and also gay and bright, which means happy, and willing to undergo any hardships that you yourselves undergo. If our feminine garb is inconvenient, that means they're feminine clothing, we should just love to don masculine attire. That means they're willing to put on male clothing. We have been reading all books and articles that have been written on dangerous expeditions by brave men to the polar regions, and we do not see why men should have all the glory, and women none, especially when there are women just as brave and capable as there are men. Trusting you will think over our suggestion, we are Peggy Pegreen, Valerie Davey, and Betty Webster. P.S. We have not given any further particulars. That means they haven't given many details of their skills, in case you should not have the time to read this. But if you are at all interested, we will write and tell you more about our greatest wish. So that is a real letter that was sent to Ernest Shackleton. Like I say, I will share that with you so you can read it yourselves. And what I'm going to ask you to do today is have a think about how persuasive do you think that letter was? Do you think it persuaded Shackleton to let these women on board with him? Now, obviously we said about the gender issue. So back then there were different views on men and women and what they were able to do or what they should be allowed to do. But putting that aside, do you think it was a persuasive letter? So I'm going to ask you to focus on that today. That's what we're going to be thinking about. So there will be more details that follow in the PowerPoint. So I hope you enjoy it, and I look forward to reading more with you next time.